Have you ever wondered how your brain processes thoughts about its own thoughts? Welcome to the intriguing world of metacognition. This term may sound a bit complex, but it's actually a concept that we all use, often without even realizing it. Metacognition, in the simplest terms, is the process of thinking about thinking. It's an inward gaze, a reflection on how we process information, make decisions, and solve problems. Now, why is this important? Well, imagine you're navigating a maze. You can just wander aimlessly, hoping to stumble upon the exit, or you could pause, assess your position, and plan your next move. This pause, this moment of reflection, is metacognition at work. It's the ability to step back, to view the bigger picture, to understand how we think and why we think the way we do. Metacognition allows us to monitor and control our cognitive processes. It's like being the conductor of an orchestra, directing all the different instruments, our thoughts, emotions, and memories, to create a harmonious symphony. Think about the last time you studied for a test. Did you just read the material over and over again? Or did you stop to think about how you were learning? Did you ask yourself what strategies were working and which ones weren't? If you did, congratulations. You are using metacognition. Metacognition is also a powerful tool for self-improvement. By understanding how we think, we can identify our strengths and weaknesses, learn from our mistakes, and make better decisions in the future. It's like having a personal coach, constantly guiding us and helping us to improve. So you see, metacognition isn't just about thinking about thinking. It's about understanding ourselves, about gaining insight into our own minds. It's about becoming more aware, more conscious, and ultimately, more in control of our own thoughts and actions. In other words, metacognition is like having a conversation with your own mind. So how does one monitor and control their own cognitive processes? Great question. Let's dive in. Metacognition, or thinking about thinking, has two main components: knowledge about cognition and regulation of cognition. Knowledge about cognition is our understanding of how we think and learn. It's recognizing that we have different ways of processing information, and that our approach might change based on the task at hand. For instance, you may notice that you memorize facts better when you write them down, or that you solve math problems more efficiently when you talk them out loud. On the other hand, regulation of cognition involves managing and controlling our cognitive processes. It's about being an active participant in our learning journey, making conscious decisions about how to approach a problem or task. This is where metacognitive strategies come into play. Think about it this way. Let's say you're learning a new language. You might start by identifying the areas you struggle with. Maybe it's pronunciation or grammar. That's knowledge about cognition. Then, you might decide to practice speaking with a native speaker, or use a language learning app to improve in those areas. That's regulation of cognition. Some common metacognitive strategies include self-questioning and self-checking. Self-questioning involves asking ourselves questions like, do I understand this concept? Or what strategy should I use to solve this problem? It encourages us to reflect on our understanding and identify any gaps in our knowledge. Self-checking, on the other hand, is about assessing our performance. After finishing a task, we might ask ourselves, did I do this correctly, or what mistakes did I make? It helps us to identify areas of improvement and adjust our strategies accordingly. In essence, monitoring and controlling our cognitive processes is about being aware of how we think and actively managing our learning. It's about taking the driver's seat in our journey of knowledge acquisition rather than being a passive passenger. Remember, the more you understand your thought process, the better you can control it. But how does this self-monitoring and control affect our learning? Well, here's where the magic of self-regulation comes into play. You see, self-regulation is like the conductor of our cognitive orchestra. It helps us harmonize our thoughts, actions, and emotions, allowing us to perform at our most efficient and effective. Now let's dive into how this conductor influences our learning. Imagine you're trying to master a new skill, say, learning a new language. Metacognition, or being aware of your own thought processes, allows you to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. You might realize that you're great at remembering vocabulary, but struggle with grammar rules. This self-awareness then guides you to select appropriate learning strategies. If grammar is your weak point, you might choose to focus more on that, perhaps by practicing sentence construction or getting extra help from a tutor. This way, metacognition enables you to tailor your learning process to your unique needs and abilities. But self-regulation doesn't stop there. It also helps us assess our understanding. Let's go back to our language learning example. After studying for a while, you might test yourself to see if you've really gotten the hang of those tricky grammar rules. This self-assessment is a crucial part of learning because it gives you feedback on your progress, showing you where you've improved and where you still need to work. So you see, self-regulation is like a guiding light in our learning journey. It helps us navigate the path, pointing out the bumps and turns, and illuminating the way forward. It enables us to take charge of our learning, making us more independent and effective learners. And remember, this isn't just about academic learning. The beauty of metacognition and self-regulation is that they apply to all areas of our lives. Whether we're trying to learn a new skill, solve a problem, or make a decision, these processes help us understand ourselves better and navigate our world more effectively. So, metacognition not only helps us understand ourselves better, but it also makes us better learners. Now you might be wondering, how does metacognition develop over time? Well, let's dive right into it. Metacognition, the ability to think about how we think, doesn't just appear overnight. It's a process that begins in early childhood and continues to develop throughout our lives, much like a tree, if you will. It starts with a seed, sprouts, and grows, branching out as we acquire new experiences and knowledge. In early childhood, kids start to realize that they have thoughts and that others might have different thoughts. This is the beginning of their metacognitive journey. As they grow older, they start to understand that they can control their thought processes. They can strategize, plan ahead, and reflect on their actions and decisions. This is where metacognition starts to take root. As we move into adolescence, metacognition begins to blossom. Teenagers start to think abstractly and hypothetically, and their metacognitive abilities become more sophisticated. They can reflect on their own thought processes, evaluate their effectiveness, and adjust their strategies as needed. However, the metacognitive tree doesn't stop growing once we reach adulthood. It continues to develop and expand, influenced by our experiences, education, and continued learning. We become more adept at recognizing our cognitive strengths and weaknesses, and we learn to adapt our thinking strategies to different situations. But here's the exciting part. Metacognitive skills can be improved with practice. Just like a muscle, the more you flex it, the stronger it becomes. You can enhance your metacognitive abilities by actively questioning your thought processes, evaluating your problem-solving strategies, and reflecting on your learning experiences. These practices can contribute significantly to academic success and beyond. They can help you become a more effective learner, a better problem solver, and a more adaptive thinker. So, metacognition is not a fixed trait, but a skill that can be developed and enhanced. It's like a tree that continues to grow and branch out, becoming stronger and more resilient with each passing season. And the best part? The seeds of metacognition are within all of us, ready to sprout, develop, and flourish. So, what's the big takeaway from our discussion on metacognition? Well, metacognition is like having a bird's-eye view of your own thinking process. It's the ability to monitor and control your cognitive processes, knowing when to pause, when to proceed, and when to change strategies. It's like being the director of your own mind, calling the shots and making decisions that can optimize your learning experience. We've also touched on how metacognition plays a key role in self-regulation and learning. When you're aware of your own learning process, you can adjust your strategies to make them more effective. Think of it as customizing your learning experience, tailoring it to suit your unique cognitive style. For instance, if you're a visual learner, you might benefit from creating mind maps or diagrams. If you're more of an auditory learner, you might find that discussing concepts out loud or listening to podcasts helps you to grasp complex ideas. By understanding your own cognitive preferences, you can use metacognition to enhance your learning efficiency. Next, we dove into the fascinating world of metacognitive development. We learned that metacognitive skills aren't static. They can be cultivated and nurtured over time. Just like a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So don't be disheartened if you're finding it challenging at first. With practice, you'll get better at understanding your own thought processes, and this will help you become a more efficient learner. In conclusion, metacognition is a powerful tool that can transform your learning experience. It's not just about what you learn, but also about understanding how you learn. So, I encourage you all to start practicing your metacognitive skills. Pay attention to how you process information, question your own understanding, and don't be afraid to change your strategies if they're not working. Remember, understanding your thought process is the first step towards becoming a more efficient and effective learner. Subscribe, And don't forget to take care of yourselves. Goodbye.